confirm you can see my screen. So let me open my IDLE. And yeah. So according to the question, if you scroll to the end, I gave an instruction on how to submit. And I said you should submit your .py files and label each file clearly. So I'm saying for each part of the question, you should have what's it called? You should have them saved in different Python file. So that means you're not supposed to be writing. I don't expect you to write your command, your codes in shell. You need to create a file for each of the questions. So let me create a new file and let me save it before I even start writing my code. So I have a folder, my working directory for this program. I think I have it as Summer Python. Let's use Summer Python class. And let me call it, what's the name that was expected? I'll call it print_practice.py. So I'll call the name of the file print. Remember I said when you're naming your file, make sure it doesn't contain a space. When you are naming your file, make sure it doesn't contain a space. Instead of a space, you can put an underscore like I did it. So print_practice.py, I have that. And the first question says, the first question says, write Python code to print the following exactly as shown. So even if if you don't know anything, I believe you. I mean, I expected everyone to know this. So the first one is you are to write a code that's going to output something like this. Hello world. So just copy the text, come back to your code, and just do print. And because the output we have there is a string data type, I mean, it's a string. If you want to output a text, you're going to declare it as a string. So you have to put it in quotes. And we are good to go. If I save this again and I run, see we have hello world, which is exactly similar to, I mean, which is exactly what we asked to output. Then for the second one, this one may kind of may look tricky, but basically what they're asking, what I'm asking you to do is, I don't know how you're going to do it. Make sure what Python is going to print out has double quotes, Python space is, followed by another space, then fun, exclamation mark, ended with a quote. So this is all what I want to output. Come to your code. Of course, you know what you use to output a text or something to to the user is print function. So that's your print function. Now, if I do this, I'm only going to, if we run this, we're only going to have Python is fun and exclamation mark. This quote will not be there. But that is not what the question is asking. The question says, you see, the quote is not there, and we needed to include the quote according to what was displayed to us. So that is when you remember that, okay, I said there are two ways you can actually, define a string using a single quote or a double quote. Now we wanted to use, we need to use double quote as part of our test. Then we're left with the option of using a single quote to define the whole string itself. So that because we are using a single quote, this double quote is seen as part of the text. And if I save this and I press F5 to run, now you see we have Python is fun. The double quote is not included as part of the text that we are printing out. Pretty straightforward. Or another way you can do this is if you still want to, if you still want to use double quotes to define your string, then what you need to do is to use the escape character, which I said is what? What is the escape character?
//
Forward slash like this. Is it like this?
I can't tell the difference between the
Yes.
backwards and the forward.
I think
That's a forward slash.
it's not a forward slash, it's a backward slash. It's a backlash, or it's called backward slash or backlash. So forward slash is what you use for division. Backward slash is the escape character. I think I mean I provided the slide, right? So you can see that in your let me if you look, I think where we talked about it, is it here? Yeah, backlash. You see, it's a backward slash. So you use a backward slash to escape. So basically what you're saying is this first quote is the beginning of is the one that defines my string. But the one we have here, the following this particular double quotes, ignore it and take the one that follows, take the one that follows as the end of my string value. And now when we got here, we see we have two double quotes here again, and we don't want this to be the end. We want the last one to be the end, of the quotes. I mean the end of the string value rather. So we also need to tell Python that okay, ignore this particular forward slash. I mean, oh, sorry, ignore this particular double quotes and use the one that follows as the end, as the demarcation. So now Python is going to ignore this. It won't see this as the end of the what's it called? As the end of the string in quotes. And it will take this last one as what we use to define the string value. So if you do this also and we run, you see we have Python is fun. So that is that about that. Then which other question? Yeah, then for this one, I'm learning to code full stop. So also say print. So in our text, in the text we want to output, we see that we have an apostrophe or a single quote is already being used. So the easiest way to define this quote now is to enclose it in double quotes. Yeah, is to enclose it in double quotes, and if you run it, you see we have I'm learning to code. Or if you want to still use single quotes, if you want to use single quotes, you can just tell Python to escape this. Okay, yeah, and I mean I was expecting that. So the reason why we have these backward slash showing is because this character is because of my keyboard. I copied that, right? So the way my keyboard, this is the quote that my keyboard understands. But I think when I was writing the question, this was what I think I did it on a separate system. So this was how the character kind of, I mean, it's a bit different. So but if I were to type it out again and I do this and I have this backward slash now as an escape character there, if I run it, it shouldn't be, yeah, you see we have I'm learning to code. So that's just some machine issue. So that is that about that. Then for this one, he said, let's go. Yeah. So in this one, you see we have combinations of single quote and double quote as part of our test. And I remember I told us something that when you have issues like that, you can use escape character, right? You can use escape character, like in this case now, let's say we want to even use double quotes. Yeah, so we have to use escape character for this. We also have to use escape character for this last one here. And if we run it, you see, he said, let's go. But this is, I mean, if you have many of these, codes and single quote as part of your test, having to use escape character makes your text unreadable to you, makes your code unreadable. So the ideal thing to do, which I told you was to use, I mean, it's better to just use triple quotes. Enclose your test, define your test with triple quotes. And with that, this is a multi-line string value. This is how you define a multi-line string. But you can also use it for a single line string. And with this, you don't have to use any backward slash or any escape character when you are using this. So if I run this now, unterminated string literal. Okay, I think I could have used, I will have to use single quotes in this case because of remember, I think I pointed that out also because the last, this thing here is double quotes. So it will make sense to use triple single quotes. And if I run this, yeah, you can see we have, he said, let's go. And at this point, we didn't have to use backward slash or anything. And this makes our text even more readable to us. Makes our code more readable. So then if you also come back, it said a short poem of 3 lines using print, be creative. So for that, you have the liberty to choose any distance you want. But I think all of you used 3 print statements. You all use 3 print statements, but I was expecting you to use just a single print statement. A short poem of 3 lines using, it's right also when you use 3 print statement, it also, it's good. You have the expected results, but you could as well just use, do a multi-line string and say, roses are red, and then I'll press enter. Violets are, sorry, I don't know the poem, but let's just say roses are red, violets are blue or whatever. Python is fun. So I created a multi-line, what's it called? A multi-line string. And if you do this, you'll see it will come out as a 3-line string. Yeah, you can see that. Roses are red, violets are blue, Python is fun. So this same thing, if I want to do it with 3 print statements, it will be print, and I have to put it in one. I'll say, then also this last one, or the second one, in another print statement. Or if you want to be able to put, put enter new line in your, as part of your string value, like you want Python to actually see that, okay, this next line should start in the, or you want it to actually show as you've written it in your code, then you use multi-line string definition, just like this. So that's another way to actually do that. So then, so I want to print an empty space here, and I'll do something. Backward slash n. So this thing here means I just want a space. If I did not put this, so that you can, let me comment or let me delete this and save. If I run this, you see how it will come out. Yeah, you see, roses are red, violets are blue. This one is for the multi-line string. Then this is for the 3 print statement that I used. This is the result for that. But I want space between the output of the multi-line and the output of the 3 print statement. I want a space between them. I don't want them to be jam-packed like this. So I'm also printing an empty space, empty new line. You can do this. You can press enter or you can even print an empty string. But there's if you want to print a new line in Python, like you want to say Python, okay, let there be a new line. There's what we call, we use this backward slash n. It has a special meaning in your string value. It means a new line. It means a new line. So this means start the code in a new line. I mean, print an empty space basically. So if you do this now, you see there's going to be a space. Yeah, you can see there's now a space between Python is fun and roses are red, and the output of these three print statements. So then, yeah, for the minimath, this one is pretty straightforward. You were even told how to, okay, not this one, sorry. But this one is actually very straightforward. You have to write a code, create another file called, I think that's going to be, what's the name of the file? Okay, you can call it minimath or math magician, anything. So and let's copy the instructions so that we don't have to come back here. Okay, so I'm going to be using the same file, but you expected to create a new file and name it minimath. So this is the instruction. Let me just remove it. It says use print statement to show your answers. Add 47 and 19. So I mean, if you just say 47 plus 19 and you print it I mean, it's still acceptable. But to make it more descriptive, so that people know what's I mean, what do you have? When you just print this, and you send it to someone, they won't really know what it means. A 66. How did you come about 66? But it's good to include a test, trying to tell them that, okay, I'm trying to do 47 plus 19 equals to, then you can now do concatenation of the results. And of course, if you're going to be doing this concatenation, you have to you have to convert it to a string because it's going to be, it's going to be a numeric value. Yeah, 47 plus 19 is going to be a numeric value, and you cannot add a numeric value to a string value. So that is why we have to, convert the result of this 47 plus 19. We have to convert it to a string. Or if you don't want to do concatenation, you can just pass it as a second argument to your print statement like this. So if you run this now you see we have 47 plus 19 equals to 16. Now, if you print it out, as you print it out like this, people will know, okay, this is what you are trying to do. When you add 47 to 19, then it gives you 66. So same approach for other ones. It says subtract 86 from 150. So subtract 86 from 150. Is it going to be 86 minus 150? Is it like this? Is
No,
it like this?
it should be 150 minus 86.
Exactly. 150 minus 86. You're subtracting 86 from 150. So let's just do everything once and for all. This one says multiply 12 by 17. Multiply 12 by 17. Uh, asterisk 7. If you have any question, let me know. Then this one divide 144 by 12. 144 divided by 12. Say 144 divided by 12. Well, So let's run this and see. Yeah, you can see 47 plus 1966. So pretty straightforward. Then for the last one, on this part, it says use two math operations in one line like this. If you, I mean, you can even just use this, but the main task is that you should explain what happened, why you have the result that you have. So if you, let's say we have this, so the result is, what did I do? So the result is 35. So I asked, why do you have 35? What happened and why? So basically, what I expected you to say here is to tell me, okay, what is going on is actually what we call an order of operation, in the sense that Python follows PEMDAS, parentheses first, exponential multiplication. So basically, multiplication happens before addition. And that's why you have 5 multiplied by 2, which gives you 10, and 10 plus 25 gives you 35. So that's just the explanation I was expecting you to make. And I think the people that submitted, they all got that right. So that's just what I put. And you, I mean, as that, I expected you to put it as a comment, say, uh, Python uses pandas as order of operation, that is, maybe in another line, that is multiplication is done before addition. Simple, pretty straightforward. So then to another, this one, made the variables. So this one is, I mean, this is like the list of exercises actually you can get. This is even simpler than the first one I gave, and almost everybody submitted and got that right. So this one, you have to create a file called myvariables.py and create a variable called your name and also your age. Then print a sentence like, hi, my name is Maria. If your name is Maria, I am 10 years old. If your age is 10 years old. Okay, so let's do that first. I will delete this. I'll delete that. I was hoping there's going to be a way to comment everything once. Let me just comment it. Okay. So let's say you've created a file called my variable. Now create a variable called name. Let me do this. Okay. So create a variable called name. So my name is Gideon, right? So if I write this, is this correct? Is this correct? Sorry.
Parentheses around.
What did you say?
You need the parentheses around your name.
Parentheses like this.
Oh, I meant the quotes.
Okay. I need a code. And for my age, yeah, my age should be a number, because later on in the question, I think you were asked to calculate your age in 5 years or something like that. So because I know I'll be doing calculation on my age, then it makes sense to declare it as an integer, as a number, not as a quote. I mean, not as a string. So let me put this, and which other thing says Okay, after that, then print this statement. Hi. So of course, that means we're saying uh my name is. So were you the one I showed a trick? I showed you this trick, right? Oh, sorry. Maybe not you. Not you. But yeah. So one way you can do this is to can say
Well, I
my
think you did show it to us.
okay, let me check your slide. It's actually there. Yeah, I showed it to you. I showed it to you. But there are another one way you can do this is to, pass all these things as part of values that you are printing out to your print statements. Like in this case, I need my name there, right? So I can put the the name variable. Let me do something so that it can start doing color. Oh, sorry. Let me, I don't like the fact that it's not bringing color. Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, so we can have it like this name, uh, then followed by, and I am, so I also need my age at this point. So I'll say age, years old, right? Years old and full stop. I can say years old, full stop. Yeah. So this is going to work. Or another way, another thing that you can do is to say, hi, my name is Gideon. You can use concatenation. So I'm concatenating. It is possible for me to do this concatenation because name is a string value and this is also a string value. So we are concatenating them together. Concatenate, this is also a string value. But if I do it here, if I try to concatenate this, there's going to be an error. Why? Because the rule is that you can only concatenate or you can only concatenate two or more string values. You cannot add a string value to a number. It's not going to work. It's going to raise an error. So at this point, we need to find a way to change to let age be a string value at this point, just at this point alone. Not as if we are changing it entirely. The age variable is still pointing to 30 rather. But the only point where we are trying to convert it to a string is at this point where we are using it. Yeah, so please take note of that. And now that we've converted it to string using the string function, we can add it to years old again. So it's still going to, let's run that. Yeah, you see? Okay, so one thing here is at this point, we need to, by default, when you have multiple value in your string and your print statement, the separator is going to be space by default. So that's why you see that I didn't have to put space here. And when the result came out, space was already there. But now that we are doing concatenation, we needed to put that space explicitly. Yeah. So let me run it again. And cool. You see, we have it. Hi, my name is Gideon and I'm 30 years old. So that's one way. Or another way you can do it is using the magic I told you the other time. So you can have everything as one string. You can have all your statement as one string and just put like a placeholder or a dash, Hi, my name is, there's something is supposed to be here, right? So we'll put a %s to tell, this is like just to tell Python that something is supposed to be here, but I'm putting a placeholder there, like a dash that will be filled later on. So my name is Dash, and I am dash years old. I also need a dash here, %s, dash years old. And after I've written, after I've written my string value, I'm saying my name is %s, I am %s years old. Then to fill the gap that I've created, I need %s, open and close parentheses, and inside that parentheses, I need to put the variables I want to fill there in the same order. So because name is supposed to come first, then I'll put name followed by age. And if I run this now, you see we are going to have the same thing. You see, my name is Gideon and I'm 30 years old. Different approaches, same answer. So you can, whichever one you find easier or the one that comes to your mind is the one you work with. That's how it is. Any questions so far? Yano, are you getting it?
I was able to do all the parts, but part six, that's the one I didn't able to do.
Oh, okay. But then, I used to say this. Even if you don't get everything correctly, try and attempt and submit. Regardless of whether you get everything, you're able to solve all the questions or not, just try and submit. If what you're able to solve is just one, still submit when the deadline approaches. So the most important thing is to make sure, I need to know that you are at least you're following and you attempted solving it. So then there's another one says create a variable called favorite food. Then say Maria loves, your name loves, let's just do it like this. Let's call it favorite food. My favorite food is oh, so then I can print this and say Gideon loves to eat pizza, right? So I'll do this. Name, I can use any approach. So I can say name loves to eat, comma, favorite food. So that is that. Then it says, now change the value of favorite food and print the sentence again. So now favorite food, I'm writing favorite food. Now my favorite food is rice. And if I print the statement again, you see the value of favorite food would have, yeah. When I declared favorite food as fufu, from this point onward, favorite food, anywhere I call the favorite food variable is going to be pointing to fufu. But because I've changed the value at this line, now from this line again, anytime I called favorite food is going to be pointing to rice. So favorite food being fufu is only effective till this point. Because we've changed the value here now, favorite food, it will now be, anytime we call favorite food, is now going to be pointing to rice. So that's just like what you were expected to like take away from this. Then the last one says, add 5 to your age and store it in a new variable called age in 5 years. So which is quite straightforward. Age in 5 years is going to be age plus 5. That is the age that you've already declared here, plus 5. And then you have to say in 5 years, Maria will be, or my name will be something. So print in 5 years, comma, my name there, right? So name, then continue will be, comma, age in 5 years. And voila, we good to go. Yeah, so in 5 years, Gideon will be 35. Gideon loves to eat rice. Gideon loves to eat fufu. So that is that. Then for part 4, just similar approach that we've used to print something. I mean, you've used to print variables and string values. So you use the same thing here. Like animal unicorn, name Lucy, place, food. So just find a way to concatenate all. So the takeaway here is just what I've explained here in the first place, like having to use, we have different approaches. You can use to pass them as multiple values into your print statement, or you do concatenation, or you use the %s magic. Whichever one still works fine. So they have to debug this. Yeah, this one is also pretty straightforward. I ask you to pinpoint the error. If you run some of these things, some of this code is going to raise an error. So I ask you to tell me what the error is and fix them and to explain what actually went wrong. So for this one, the only issue is that P should be lowercase. Yeah, P should be lowercase. The print command is in lowercase. Python is very case sensitive. So then for age, so one thing is if you want it to be string, then you need to finish put like an ending quote. But if you want it to be a number, then you don't need the quote. So you just remove the quote. So whatever response you give is right. Either you complete the quote or you say you remove the quote since you want it to be a number. Then for the third one, name equals to Tom. Tom is a text. And for Python to understand that it's a text, you need to put it in quotes. So you need to have a quote here. For this, I have 3 apples. This is going to raise an error because you are trying to concatenate a number with a string value, which is not allowed according to the rule of Python. So to make this work, you need to convert these 3. You need to convert it to string. And now if I run this, you see it comes out fine. You see I have 3 apples. But if we did not convert it, there's going to be an error. You see there's an error. Say you can only concatenate. Let me hide this floating. Yeah, it says type error, can only concatenate string, not integer to string. Yeah. Or another way is you can say age equals to 3. Sorry, you can say n apples. You can say n apples equals to 3. And if you're going to be writing the code, you can say I have n apples, comma. So this is also going to work. But this is like a long, let's say I have 3 apples, but this is like a longer solution. So it'll just make sense without having to create a variable or not. Without having to create a variable, we could have just converted it to string and voila, you have your solution. So that is that. Then for number 6, yeah, calculator. So it says ask the user for 2 numbers using the input. I believe we've used input in the class. And add them together, subtract them, multiply them, and divide them. So which is, let me remove all this. So let's say we are taking 2 numbers, right? So number 1, let's call it number or num1. Let's say num_1 equals to, this is how you use your inputs. You want to ask the user to enter something. So you say, enter the first number. This is the prompt so that you know what to do. And after that, the second one, we also want to say num2. The same prompt, or we're saying enter the second number. So then for sum, you can say nums sum. So that's going to be num1 plus num2. Then for subtraction, you can say nums sub. So let's do it num1 minus, let's say we want to subtract num1, want to subtract num1 from, num2 from num1. Num2 from num1. So then for multiplication, we can say num product or num prod, meaning product of the numbers. Say num1 multiplied by num2. Then the division, nums div. So you can say num1 divided by num2. Then I want to print them out now. So if I do so let's write it out properly. So let's say num underscore 1, comma, this is a plus, comma num2, comma, then sum, nums sum. If you have any question, please ask. Yeah, so then for this num1 subtracted by, so this one will be sub. Then for multiplication, so I'll change this to prod, nums prod. For division, I change it to nums div. Is this going to run?
No, you didn't use the right symbol for multiplication.
I didn't what?
Oh wait, never mind.
Okay. So if I run this, there is going to be an error. But then the line, because we've not reached the line where the error is. So I remember I said Python start running from the first line till the end. So this first line, there's no error there. Second line, there's no error there. But this line, all this line here, we're not sure if there's no error. But I am sure there's an error there. So the code is running already. Let's say my first number is 5. Let me press enter. It says enter the second number. I put 4. Then there's an error because starting from this line, there's an error. So it says unsupported operand types, string and string. So what this is telling us is that, you see, it's even saying you cannot it's only pointing to this, to the subtraction here. It is not saying the error here. And of course, there's an error here. But what happened here is because these two are string values, and you remember it is possible to use the plus operation on 2 or more string value. So at this point, it is doing concatenation, so it is not seeing it as an error. This kind of error, we call it logic error. It is not a syntax error. Your syntax is right in Python's term, but the logic you want to implement is not what Python is doing. So it is called a logic error in this sense. And it is very, very hard most times because your code will not be able to point it out that you've made a logic error there. So it now boils down to your own expertise to be able to detect when there's a logic error. And when you do that is when you see that your code is not doing did not output what you asked it to, what you expected. then you know that, but there's no syntax error, there's no error, it doesn't raise a red error like this. That's when you know that the output is not what you expected. That's when you know, okay, I've made a logic error. In this case, which is what we have, which is the case in this particular scenario now. So the only time Python starts seeing error, syntax error, is this. And that's because you cannot do subtraction between two strings. Yeah, but the main error here, the main error in this program is that we haven't, when we use inputs, when you use an input function, when you are asking for your input from the user, whether the user enters 5, or let's say if I run this again, if I enter, let's run this. If I enter, the first time I enter 5 and 4, right? This time around, if I do Gideon and I say, let me say Jessica, it's still going to raise an error because in our own code, what we expected is a number. But when you use inputs, anything you enter through inputs is going to be treated as a string in Python. It's going to be treated as a string. So we need a way to convert whatever, since we are expecting a number, we need a way to convert whatever the user enters into a number. And that was the int I gave, saying use int to convert input to numbers. So int is a function that converts a value from string to a number, to an integer. And it can only work on, you cannot use, let me try to show you this. Yeah, so int can only work, this is how you use int. Inside the parentheses, you put the value you want to convert there. So let's say 34 in quotes. 34 in quotes is a string. But because it can also double as an integer, so it is possible to use int on it, and it will be converted to a number. Now, this 34 that is printed out here is a number. Or if you have sorry. If you have 23.4 and you try to convert it to an integer, it's going to give you the whole number part of it, which is 23. Okay, so which is 23. But if you do it on something like, say, okay, let's say you are now. It's going to raise an error because Urano doesn't have the tendency of being a number. So you see value error is not possible. So you can only do it on a string value that has the tendency of being a number also. I hope that is clear. So how do we now do the conversion here? Whatever the user, this is the command that gets whatever the user enters. So whatever the user enters now, we need to convert it to an integer. So that means we need to put all this inside, we need to put it inside an int function. And similarly with this, we need to have an int function and put whatever the command that asks the user to enter something, we need to put it inside. And like that, whatever the user enters will be converted to an integer. And if we run this now, enter the first number. If I put 5, or let's say 10, the second number is 20. You see, something is up. Okay, I didn't put equal to. Okay, I didn't put an equal to, but you can see 10 plus 20 is 30. 10 minus 20 gives minus 10. 10 multiplied by 20 gives 200. 10 divided by 20 gives 0.5, which is exactly what you were expected to do. and it says bonus 10 points if you can have a statement that says thanks for using Supermat, Ultron, something like that. Like you just put like a fun message at the end. So you can say print. I think it was is it Jennifer or was it Nana? Okay, I think it was Jennifer. No, I can't really remember. Someone said thanks for using the best calculator or something like that. So we can just say thanks for using uh the relator, yeah. The relator, yeah, from my name. Yeah, cool. So that's just all what is expected of you. This let's say let's make this 60 and let's make this 10. Voila. So that is that about that. Any question now, Joanna? Any question? Anything not clear?
It's all clear.
Okay, awesome. Um, did anybody go over or can anyone remind me where we stopped in the last class?
I think the last thing we were talking about was the len function, or I think we were talking about the inbuilt functions. I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I remember the last thing we talked about was the len function, which is also an inbuilt function. So now I believe you've used print. You know, okay, input is not listed here. But you've also used input, which is also an inbuilt function. You've used string. You've used integer. So float, there's also one called float, which works like similarly with integer. So float is used to convert from string or even from an integer to a decimal point number. Say you have, I'm coming, let me, yeah, say you have a float 3 point, no, float 3. If you have float 3, basically 3 is an integer, right? So it's going to give you 3.0. That is, it will convert it to a decimal. Float is Python. Float in Python means decimal number in decimal point. It's a number, but it has decimal point. So that's Python way of identifying decimal number. It is called float in Python. So if you also have a float and you have a string value that has the tendency of being a decimal number, like you have 34.5, you have it in quotes. So it will also convert it to an actual not to a number, to convert it to a number, and you can do so you can have this. You can have floats that is 34.5 plus 34.5. Initially, if you do this alone, it's going to give you let me do this. So 34.5 plus 34.5. If you do this, it's going to concatenate. It's not going to add because it is a string. The two is a string, you see. But when you have this, when you convert it to integer, you see we have 69.0. So that's another inbuilt function called float. You use integer. So this odd, there's an odd and char. You can disregard those ones, but we have a lot of them. We have a lot of them. Type is used to return the data. Type is a function that is used to return if you want to check for a data type of a value. Like in this case, but if I do type and I say 24.6 in quotes, what's the data type of this value?
Float.
Why is it float?
I think actually no, I think it's a string because it has the quotes around it.
Yeah, it's a string because it has a quote around it. It's a string, even though it has a tendency of being a float, but it's a string. So far, there's a quote, there's a quote around it, is a string. So if I do this now, you should do something like str. Yeah. So type will return the value, the type, the class of value it is. In this case, it is a string. So if I do type and I do 34.6, what's going to be the data type?
Float.
Any contrary opinion?
Is it a
It's a float, right?
yes?
Yeah, you're right. So it's a float. So basically, type is going to give you, if you're not sure of the data type of a value, you can use the type to check. You can use the type function to quickly check and see. So that is that. So when we talk about length in the last class, I said length is used to return. I also believe we started with what we called list. That is how you can store multiple items, like creating like a bucket or a plate rack, where we had to, if you remember correctly, where I said you can store multiple items. Before now, we've only been storing one value to a variable. But what if you want to be able to store multiple values, which you also call multiple items? You want to be able to store it to one variable. And you want to have, you want to be able to do a lot of manipulations on it. So I remember if you watch the video again, you see we talk about how you can it is called a list, and it is in there. It has you can index them in the sense that you can pick an item from a certain position. It is all that, like a shopping list. Now, let's say we have a shopping list. Let me quickly do like a revision. Let me do it in the shell just to. This is a lower. Yeah. So if you have a shopping list, this is just like a brief revision. So to create a list, you have to include it in square brackets, not parentheses now, square bracket like this. And we are going to the market. We want to buy bicycle. I want to buy carrot. And I want to buy uh or which other thing? Tell me things. If you're going to the market, what can you buy?
Marshmallows.
I didn't get that.
Marshmallows.
Marshmallows. Oh, okay. Uh, is the spelling correct? Is the spelling correct?
I think instead of an E, it's an A.
Oh, you mean here, right?
There's supposed to be an R after the A. In marsh in the MARSH.
Oh, okay. I knew that was going to be hard because I barely I barely say that. All right, so let's say marshmallows and which other thing? Let's say we want to buy fan too. Yeah, so we can create a list like this. So in this particular list now, contains how many items?
3, 4, 4.
Contains 4 items, bicycle being one. So you separate each item by a comma. Carrots, marshmallows, and fan. You have 4 items. And one good thing about this, about having a list now is that you can now say, okay, in my list, what do I have in my list? You can do what we call, you can access your list. Remember I said when you create a list like this, it is always ordered. That is, when you, bicycle is what we have first. You can only see this as, okay, this is the order of importance to things I want to get from the supermarket. Bicycle is very important. Carrots is followed by carrots, followed by marshmallows, and followed by fan. So say fan is like the least important. And like that, if you want to now check, okay, what's the most important thing in my list? That is what comes first in my list. You can access the elements, you can access the items inside your list by calling the list, which is shopping list, and putting the square bracket and putting what we call the index. So index is the position number of your item. Bicycle is the first, right? Carrots is the second, marshmallows is the third, and fan is the fourth. But in Python, indexing starts from zero. Counting starts from zero. Let's take it that way. Counting starts from zero. Indexing starts from zero. So that's why you see it from the slide here. I say I make a note. I say index starts from zero. So if I want to pick the first item on my list, the index is going to be what?
0.
0. Now let me print that. And if I do that, you see we have bicycle. So what's now going to be the index of the last item in our list?
3.
3.
3. Exactly. 3. I will see we have fun. But Python now also makes it easier for us in the sense that if you need to check for, let's say if you don't know the count of your list, you don't know the count of your list, you don't know how many items you have there, but you want to be able to pick just the last element. Python gives like there's an index, a special index you can call it, called -1. When you specify your index as -1, it will always return the last index for you. I mean the last item for you. Do you get that?
Yes.
So basically, the idea behind this is there's what we call positive indexing and there's what we call negative indexing. Positive indexing starts from 0 to, 0 to infinity. But for negative indexing starts from -1. So if I want to pick marshmallow now, if I want to pick marshmallow using positive indexing, what's going to be the index for marshmallows?
2.
2. Anybody that's not, I mean, anybody not clear with how we arrive at 2? Anybody? If you don't know how we come about 2.
But I don't understand how you got 2.
Okay. So remember I said when you create your list like this, like your collection like this, the first item is always in the position of 0. The second one is in the position of 1. We have 4 items here, right? So this basically is the first one, carrot is the second one, marshmallow is the third one, and fan is the fourth one. But Python starts counting from 0. So the position of this position here is going to be referenced as 0th position. That is index 0. Then this is going to be index 1. Marshmallow is now going to be index 2, and fan is going to be index 3. Is that clear, Jessica?
Yes.
Or who said she wasn't clear? Okay. So that is how I mean, if you specify 2, then we will have marshmallows because bicycle is 0, carrot is 1, marshmallow is 2, fan is 3. Then now that is for positive indexing. If you are not doing negative indexing, I said negative indexing starts from 1, from -1. And that is why when you specify -1, it returns the last element. Now, if I specify -2, I will still have marshmallow. Do you see that now? So it's not left for you to, whenever you want to do indexing like this, it's left for you to decide on whether you want to use positive indexing or negative indexing. That is, if you want to go from like this, you want to go from left to right, or you want to go from right to left. You want to go from the very last to the top, or you want to go from the top to the last. Top to the last, you use your positive indexing. That's when you start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to whatever the length of your list is. But if you're doing it from the bottom, that is from the last to the top, then you start from -1, -2. If I put -3 now, what's going to be the result?
Carrot.
Carrot. Is that clear to everybody?
Yes.
Speak up if you're, I mean, speak out if you're not clear with this. So you can swap, I mean, you can swap, you can add, you can remove. So that's how to access. That's how to access your what's it called? How to access your list. How to access your list. And also, if you also want to, another way to access it, let's say you know, with this index now, you can only pick one element. Let's say you want to pick the first 2 elements. How can you do that? You can still use the indexing. That is, you call your list, you specify square bracket like this. And now, if you're picking more than 2 or more than 1 element, now you need to specify your starting and your stop and your end. That is, what index are you starting from and what index are you stopping at? So let's say I want to pick the first 2 now. That is, I want to pick 0 and 1 position, right? Is that correct? Hello. Maybe you can unmute yourself, everybody. So I said I wanted to pick bicycle and carrot. So I can, to do that, I mean, if followed using the approach that we've been talking about now, you could have just said, okay, let's say you should specify 0, 1. If you do this, sorry, there's going to be an error. Yeah, that's not how you do it. If you want to select more than one, you want to access more than one item in your bucket or in your list. So the way you do it is you specify where you want to start. That is, you want to start from bicycle, which is at index of 0, right? And after you specify your start, you put a colon. Please take notes. You put a colon and you specify where you want to stop. So I want to say, okay, peak, this colon is just like, it means like a range. That is from 0 to where? Where do you want to stop? I want to stop at carrots. What is the position of carrots? What is the index of carrots? Everybody, what's the index of carrots?
1.
Yeah, index of carrots is 1. But according to the rule in Python, it's a rule. Don't challenge it. Because where you want to stop is 1, it's at the position of 1. Then to specify your stop, you need to add 1 to it. Say 2 in this case. If you print it out, you see, we're going to have just bicycle and carrot. It's a rule. Where we want to stop is carrot, but you must, and the position of carrot is 1. The index of carrot is 1. To now make it as your stop, to specify your stop, you need to add 1 to it. Similarly, if I want to, let's say we only want to start, we want to just pick carrots, marshmallows, and fan. What's going to be our starting point? We want to pick carrots, marshmallows, and fun.
Would it be 1, 2, 3? Like,
I'm just asking of the starting point now. We are starting at carrot, right? And the index of carrot is what? 1. That is, there's no child. I mean, there's no other distance to that. That is very straightforward. 1, then where do we want to stop? Which is what we specify after the colon. And where we want to
3.
stop it, we want to stop at fun, right? And what is the index of fun?
3.
What is the index of fun? That is the position, the position of fun. What is the number? 3. Bicycle is 0, carrot is 1, marshmallow is 2, fun is 3. Do you all agree with me?
Yes. Also, Jessica's having some technical difficulty.
Okay, what's that?
She keeps like getting logged down. She can't hear you anymore.
Oh, you can hear me?
No, only Jessica can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can hear you, but Jessica, her computer is having some problem.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, sorry, I'm not able to see the participants while I'm presenting. Okay. But is everybody good now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, again, what I wanted to pick is, I just wanted us to, I only want to extract carrots, marshmallows, and fun. And I said, you need to specify your starting point, which is carrots. And the position of carrot is 1. So there's nothing to add or nothing to subtract. You specify 1 as where you want to start. The manipulation now comes with where you want, when you are specifying your stop. So the syntax, before that, the syntax for, if you want to pick more than one item from, you want to access more than one item from your list, the syntax is to specify your list itself. That is the variable within your list or your list. You put square brackets. Almost everything, most of the manipulations you'll be doing with list will include this square brackets. And inside that, you specify your start, colon, then your stop plus 1. Wherever you want, whatever index you want to stop, you must add 1 to it when you are specifying it as your stop. And if you want to include a step, like let's say you want to skip certain distance, so you can call this step. So this is like the syntax, the how you write it. So your start is going to be a number, of course. Stop is also going to be a number, and your step is also going to be a number. And how can we now use that? Let me make that as a comment. So like in this case now, I said we want to pick just carrots, marshmallows, and fun. We are not skipping anything. We are skipping the first one, but of course that's not really skipping. If you are, when we are selecting carrots, we are picking the next 2 neighbors, the next 2 items that follows. So there's no skipping there. So in this point now, we are starting at 1 and we are stopping at 3. But because according to the rule, whatever index you are stopping at, you have to add 1 to it. So it's not going to be 3 now, it's going to be 4. It's going to be 4. And if I press enter, you see we have carrots, marshmallows, and fun. If I want to pick bicycle and marshmallows alone, how do you think I can do that? I want to pick just bicycle and marshmallows. How can I do that?
Would you do 0
Okay.
and
0 as my starting point, right?
yes.
Okay.
And you said marshmallows?
Yeah, just bicycle and marshmallows.
Would it be 3?
as my stop. Okay, 3. Is that all? Carrot is included, but I don't want carrots to be included. So that is when your step can now come in. Remember I said this, when I gave the syntax here, I said start, colon, stop is what you specified. Then if you should add another colon, then the thing you should be specifying after that colon should be the step. So in this case now, I said, okay, go from 0 to 3, or go from 0 to this point, but I want to skip. That is from this point to this point. This is what I'm interested in. But then I want to skip the middle one. I want to skip one between them, between my start and finish. I want to skip one. Then you can specify. Now I need to specify my step as 2. You also add 1 to that. I am skipping 1, but according to Python rule, I also need to add 1 to it. Just see it like that. And with this now, I'll specify that, okay, go from 0 to from 0th index to position 2. But because I've added 1 to it, so it is showing 3. But I'm saying from 0 to position 2, that is from bicycle to marshmallow, skip 1. And you see, I only have bicycle and marshmallows now being returned. So the only time you had 1 to your index is when you are specifying your stop and your step. Is that clear? Hello, is anybody confused?
Yes.
You're confused? Hello?
Yeah, a little.
You're confused, Ellie?
Question.
Okay.
If you're skipping more than one, do you do multiple of the steps? Like if we wanted to skip the carrot and the marshmallow, would we do 0 and then
Okay, if you want to skip carrots and marshmallows, right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. So we want to skip carrot and marshmallow. We are starting from first of all, what are we interested in? You have to specify what you're interested in. That is, we're interested in all of this, right? But we want to skip the 2 at the middle here. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you say, start from the beginning till the end. What's the position of this? 0, 1, 2, 3. Fan is at the third, is at index 3. But according to the Python rule, you have to add 1 to it. So we'll be saying 4. Now, between those range, between 0 and 3, I want to skip 2. Like skip 2 each time. So I'll show you what I mean by skip 2 each time now. So now we are skipping 2, but again, according to Python rule, you have to add 1 to it. So we'll be specifying 3 as our step. See, start, end at 4, skip 2, end at 3, skip 2. And now if I run it, you see we only have bicycle and fan. Carrots and marshmallows have been skipped. Let me give you another example. Ages. Let's say we want to do collection of all our ages. 30. And of course, when you're creating your list can contain both strings and numbers. You can have a mixture of data types or values. So in this case, I want to create a list of all our ages in this class. Let's say we have someone of 30, we have another of 20, we have another of 15, we have another person that is 10, and this person is, let me say we have 5, and we have someone of 45, we have someone of 23, we have another person of 50, and we have another person of 100. So we have that as ages. If I'm interested in 30, 20, and 15, let's start like that. 30, 20, and 15. What am I going to specify? What index will I specify?
One.
I'm interested in 30, 20, and 15.
So 0, 1, and 2.
I won't specify 0, 1, and 2. Mind you, that doesn't work. I will specify my starting point. This is the syntax here. Your start, then a colon, followed by your stopping index. So my starting index is 0. My stopping index is 2. Remember, 30 is 0, 20 is 1, 15 is 2. But according to Python rule, if the index I want to stop is 2, then I need to add 1 to it. Now 3. So if I do this, you see I have 30, 20, and 15. If I want to pick just 15, 10, and 5, that means I have to do ages. And I'm starting at 15, right? I want to pick 15, 10, and 5. So I'm starting at 15, and the index of 15 is 0, 1, 2. So the index of 15 is 2, which is where I'm starting. And the index of 5 is, I'm coming, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the index of 5 is 4. But because according to Python rule, your stopping point, you must always add 1 to your stopping point. So that means this is going to be 5, I think. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so the index is 4, but according to Python rule, I need to add 1 to it. So I'll be specifying 5, and that is going to give me 15, 10, 5. Yeah, see, you can see that 15, 10, 5. And for skipping, let's say we want to pick 30. Let me do this. So I want to return 30, 15, 10, and 45. 30, 15, 10, and 45. If you look at the pattern to this, what I'm basically saying is pick this, skip the next, skip one, like the next one, pick the next one, skip the next one, pick this, then, sorry, pick this, we want to select this, skip this, select this, skip this, select this. I think I've made a mistake. So this should be 5. This is what I want to return. 5. Yeah, I think this is what I want to return. I want to pick 30, skip 20, pick 15, skip 10, then pick 5. So this is what I want to do. So to get this kind of pattern, what I have to do is, my starting point is 0, right? 30 because I'm starting from the beginning. So I'll say start from 0, end at 5 is the last character I'm interested in. The last item, the last item I'm interested in. So I'll specify the index of this 5, which is going to be what? What is the index of 5?
5,
Index of 5.
4,
4.
4. Index of 5 is 4. But because I want to specify it as my stopping point, so I'll have to add 1 to it, and now it is going to be 5. Did you get that? So if I run this alone, it's going to give me 30, 20, 15, 10, and 5. But the result I'm looking for is I want to skip 1. I want to always skip like the next one. That is after the first element, I always want to skip the one that follows, then pick the one that follows the one you skip, skip the next one like that, like alternating skip in a way. So now I need to specify a step. That is the number of steps I want to skip. So and the number of steps I want to skip is 1. After each this thing, what I'm skipping is the difference between the next point I'm picking is 1, right? But of course, according to Python rule, we also need to add 1 to our step. So I'll be saying 2. And if I run this, see we have 30, 15, 5. Is anybody confused again? Or are you getting it now?
Yeah, I understand.
Similarly, let's say I want to pick everything now. I want to pick everything. I want to pick everything here. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I want to start from the beginning till the end. I want to pick everything. So that means I'm picking 0 to 9. But I want to skip like 2. I want to always skip the next 2. I always want to skip the next 2. That is, I want to pick 30, skip 20 and 15, pick 10, skip 5 and 45, pick 25, skip 50 and 100. So in this point now, I'm skipping 2, right? But if I want to specify it as my step, I'll write 3. And this should give me 30, 10, 23. Are you seeing the pattern like that?
Yes.
You may have to go over this again, over this tutorial again over this video again if you're not getting it now. But I'll give you an assignment on that just to make sure to reinforce we only have like 6 minutes to reinforce that. So then also, we also made I think I also made an example. This was like this revision of what we did in the last class. So we said we can also add and remove from our list. So for our shopping list, let me print our shopping list. You see, this is what we have: bicycle, carrots, marshmallows, and fan. We can add to it, and to add, you just need to call your list and there's a method we call append. Just write it like this. After you've you've written the name of your list, shopping list, put a dot and type append. You put parentheses, and inside it, you put whatever you want to add. You can only add one item at a time. So in this case, let's say we remember we want to buy a pen. So we add it like this, press enter. If I print shopping list now, see, pen has been added. So whatever you append will always be added to the last, will always be added as the last element. And now if I call shopping list -1, what's going to be the output? Everybody.
Pen.
It's going to give me pen because -1 returns the last element. And again, talk about the len function, right? So we said len is used to return is a function that returns the number of elements you have in your list. So which is 5. Of course, bicycle, carrots, marshmallows, fan, and pen. We have 5 elements. So len remove returns 5. And also say len also works for strings. Len also works for strings. If you put like Jessica now, if you're given a task to give the number of letters you have in Jessica, you can use len also. It's going to give you the number of letters you have there, which is 7. If you have Yoano, How many letter words are Joanno? See, 5. So len also work for that. Also, if you want to delete an element from your list, we use the del, which means delete. And what you do is you write you use del space, then the name of your list, and in square bracket, you specify the index of the element you want to remove. In this case, let's say I want to remove fan. What's the index of fan? What is the index of fan?
3.
Is this correct? Is this correct? As the index of fan?
No, you have to start counting from 0.
Okay, so it has to be
No.
3.
No, it's
Okay, so if I put enter now, it has run, it has deleted. So if I should print it out now, you will see shopping underscore list. Yeah, you see. Fan has been removed. We now have bicycle, carrot, marshmallows, and pen. So that is how you delete from your collection, from your list. And also, if you want to replace a value, let's say you want to replace marshmallow with is it cabbage? I don't know how to. We don't really eat it in this part of the world like that, but so let's say you want to replace marshmallows with cabbage. The way you go about it is to specify your list variable, that is the variable within your list, and square bracket, and you specify the index that you want to overwrite. In this case, I want to overwrite marshmallows. So the index of marshmallow is 2, because bicycle is 1, carrot is 2. Sorry, bicycle is 0, carrot is 1, marshmallow is 2. So I'm specifying 2. And I'll now say outside that square bracket, I'll now say equal to the new variable the new value I want to put there. Or let me replace it with mango. I want to replace marshmallow with mango. So if I do this now, and I print my shopping list, you see, our shopping list is now having bicycle, carrot, mango, and pen. So that is how you replace the value that you already have in a list. Then we also have insert. If you want to insert a value in a specific position, you use the insert. You call shopping underscore list dot insert. And let's say, shopping underscore list, then you specify the position you want to put. Let's say I want to put something as position 1. If I'm right, yeah. Sorry, this is not the syntax. Right? So you said shopping list, you called your list variable. I said shopping list insert. What position do you want to insert? Let's say I want to put it as position 1. That is, I want something to come between bicycle and carrots. I want to shift this thing to the right. I want carrot. Carrot is currently occupying position 1, but I want something else there now. So that carrot will now occupy position 2, mango will occupy position 3, and pen will occupy position 4. So I'm saying put insert oranges in position 1. And if I print my shopping list, so we now have bicycle, oranges, carrots, mango, and pen. So please, I think we already did all these things in the last class. So you can watch this video again and practice along with the videos. And practice along with the videos, and so that next point, by next class, we can just start with, there's another way you can create collections, which is called tuple. So by next class, I won't be doing revision of this list again. I will assume you've gone over the video and practice well. So I'll be starting with this tuple, which is another way. It works similarly with list, but there's a one major difference between a tuple and a list. In the sense that with tuple, you see, we can replace value, we can insert values, right? But with this tuple, you cannot do that. You cannot even you cannot change the value. So that's the major difference between tuple and a list. You cannot change the value of the element you already have in your list, I mean, in your tuple. So by next class, we'll be talking more about this. And that will be the end for this week. So I won't be giving an assignment this week. The assignment I will be giving you is to watch the videos again and practice along properly. Make sure you understand lists, and if you have any question, you can note it down to ask me in the next session. So that will be all for today.